Here's a GameMaker pro tip. You may have used the assetGetIndex function to find a sprite or an object or any asset using a string or by joining two strings together, like this, where the SPR prefix stays the same but the sprite it pulls depends on the value of this variable, which could pull any one of these sprites. But this may not work, or it might give you an error. See, if you haven't used any of these sprites directly in your project, like assigning them to an object, placing them in a room, or referencing them directly in code, GameMaker thinks you're not using them. So they're not gonna be included in the final game package. And when you run a function like assetGetIndex to find that asset by its name, it's gonna give you nothing because the asset is not even there. So there are three ways you can solve this. First of all, in the game options, you can just disable the automatically remove unused assets option. This way, all of the assets in your game, even the ones that are not used, will make it into the final game package, so you don't have to worry about some assets not being there. The other way is to assign tags to these sprites and then mark that tag as used with the GML pragma function. So you're telling GameMaker that any asset that has this tag must be included in the final game package. And then alternatively, you can just write out the sprite names in an array in a script. The array itself will not be used, but this way the compiler will know that these sprites are being referenced and they should be pulled into the game package. So you can do any one of these things and they should solve the problem. Make sure to follow for more GameMaker tips and tricks.